got water pooling around the base of your faucet, a slow drain basin, or mysterious drip under the sink. These little annoyances can turn into big headaches if left unchecked. Before grabbing your toolbox or searching for a DIY fix online, it's worth knowing what is really going on, because every sink problem has its own set of causes, and understanding them is the key to saving time, money, and stress. Hi, I'm Peter McGrath, owner of Mr. Rooter Plumbing, and today we're going to break down the most common bathroom sink issues, including their causes, how to spot the signs early, and what to expect when it comes to repair costs. I have Curtis with me, a 15-year plumber, and I'm going to go through and ask Curtis a bunch of different questions, and hopefully we learn something as we go through this process. So thank you for joining me, Curtis. So first question I would have for you is, how can you tell if your faucet is leaking at the base or the spout?
Well, it's essentially the spout is referring to the outlet of the faucet, where the aerator would be. So that would be the spot where you'd normally see water coming out on the normal operation of the faucet. And the base would be referring to that kind of the seam between the bottom of the faucet where it meets the sink. So it's important to kind of, when you're having a leak, to identify, is it just a matter of coming out of the spout, or is it coming out of the base of the faucet, to help determine what parts are broken inside of the faucet.
And what causes the drain pipe under the basin to leak?
Usually that would have to do with rust for the most part. There's what's called the pop-up plug, the PO plug that's underneath the sink, as well as oftentimes we do see it with metal drainage, a metal P-trap underneath it as well, which is susceptible to rust over time. So usually when we do find a leak underneath the sink, it either has to do with corrosion on some metal parts, or I've even seen it where it's a crack in the actual porcelain itself, or leaking from the faucet. You know what I mean? Either from the spout down, leaking through the seam between the base of the faucet and the sink.
Okay. And with a basin on the drainage system, do you require a P-trap?
Yeah, so every fixture does require a P-trap. Toilets, for example, do have a P-trap built into them, but for sinks in any application that I could think of, we generally do need to install a P-trap underneath it, which would just be like a U-pipe to hold on to water that stops gases from floating back into the house.
And what is a typical spot where they would leak?
So for the most part, for a sink application where you would see that P-trap underneath the sink, that would be leaking for the most part, either on the bottom cleanout is a common spot for it, or the union. So in most cases underneath the sink, you're going to have a spot, a nut that you can undo on the drainage system to actually remove that P-trap out of the mix. Oftentimes we see that union wearing out, either from somebody snaking the drain too aggressively, or again, just over time it rotting out. So that would be the most common spot, I would say, is the union on the P-trap.
And then typically with faucets and stuff like that, you would have the piping going from, let's say, the copper or plastic coming through the wall, and then you have supplies going to the faucets. Mm-hmm. And so, do they leak occasionally?
They would leak as well. For the most part, you're either going to have a soft copper piping going from the valve up to the faucet, or a braided line. We do see those leak quite a bit when somebody, for example, decides to change their own faucet and does not replace those supply lines. They are a one-time use kind of thing. And a lot of people do tend to reuse them. So when washers wear out over time, metal does kind of compress in certain ways where it can't be resealed. So that would be a big cause of a leak as well.
Out of all of the sinks in a person's home, which one would you say would block the most?
By far the bathroom sink, I would say, would be the number one culprit. And it has to do with the nature of the usage of it. For example, with men, they're going to have shaving cream for the most part going down that sink, which is a substance that can cause that blockage to accumulate. Women will have long hair. Some guys have long hair as well, where that long hair can also clog up. And unlike certain other sinks, you have a lot of mechanics going on inside of that drain to cause that, you know what I mean, mechanical pop-up lever that you have on the back of it, or a clicker style, which takes up a lot of room inside of the drain itself, which again can accumulate a lot of hair and a lot of material.
Do you find that customers experience foul smells more so in a basin than in a kitchen sink?
Yeah, so kitchen sinks, we do get a fair amount of bad smell issues. Bathroom sinks tend to also have that issue. Soaps, you know what I mean, soaps and the different chemicals that get used in a sink application, a bathroom application, can give off quite a bad odor. And when you do get that accumulation in the pop-up plug, it's before the P-trap, which is holding on to the water. So that bad odor does have the ability to come out of that sink very easily and cause you that bad smell.
And how would someone address that? What recommendations would you have to get rid of that smell?
So usually I would recommend physically removing any blockage that's inside of there, as well as using like a bacteria drain cleaning product to help kind of eat away at all the natural soaps and the oils that are kind of building up inside that drain, causing that odor.
What should a homeowner do before calling a plumber? Like if they see something's happened at the sink, there's a bit of a leak or you know, something like that. How would they identify it? What recommendations would you give them before going and calling that for a service call? Well,
I'd always, check with the customer to see their comfort level with tools and everything like that. In some cases, some drain assemblies and some issues that you could run into with a faucet in a bathroom sink application can be addressed fairly easily with minimal tools. When you start getting into faucet issues, for example, leaks coming from the spout or the base, generally that involves a faucet rebuild. So I would generally recommend, first things first, identify where the leak is occurring from, and then kind of make a recommendation from there on if it looks like something that could be fixed with, relatively simple tools and a simple repair, or something a bit more invasive, such as changing a cartridge out or something like that.
And have you ever noticed, or have you ever ran across a customer having multiple issues at the same time?
Oh yeah. It's very common that a sink gets installed with a faucet left there for 30, 40 years, and by the time one problem has occurred, the other parts are not too far behind it. So very commonly we find that if, like, for example, the P-trap is starting to leak, that the piping on the way up to the sink, the pop-up plug, is also having fairly major issues. And when it comes to faucet problems, same kind of thing. That faucet's starting to wear out. The supply lines and the valves underneath are probably not too far behind.
Okay. All right, Curtis. Well, thank you very much for helping me out with all the answers to those questions. I hope you all liked that video. I hope you could you enjoyed it, and if you did, please share it with some friends, families. If you have any other questions, please let us know. We'd be very happy to answer those questions for you. Do another video and go through that. Go through that again once with Curtis. So again, if you appreciated this video, or if you have any other questions, please give us a call. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and like it. And I really appreciate your time and looking forward to the next video. So until then, take care.